Okay guys, so I'm constantly getting questions on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, my Discord community. Everyone wants to know which prop firms I use, which prop firms I recommend. And today's video, I'm going to talk about my opinion on the prop firms. We're going to do a tier list, and this is obviously only based on my personal experience with the prop firm. You might have bad experiences with this prop firm that I say I've had good experiences with. This is solely based on the experiences that I've had. I'm not saying don't go with one, don't go with another, but based off how I've actually traded with them. So I'm only going to use firms that I've actually had a payout from, because I feel like I could just say, oh, don't buy this firm because I've heard the spread's bad. But then if I haven't actually experienced that, then there is no way of me saying if it is actually good or not. So I'm going to stick with the ones I've actually had a payout from, and we're going to go from there. So I'm just going to use the tiers. We're going to start off with bad, average, good, great, and God tier. God tier, I'd say it's like one I've had no issues with, and obviously working your way down. Bad, I'm not saying it's like a really bad firm. I'm just saying my experiences weren't as great as they were with the other firms. So we're going to start off with Aquafunded. This is a relatively new firm, and if you've seen videos on my channel, you've seen that I've had payouts from Aquafunded, and it's been quite a seamless process. The payouts are pretty quick. It's all done through Rise Pay. The only issue I did actually have with them was it took a few days to actually get my account details, but we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt because that was on their launch week, where it was the first 2 weeks that they actually opened. So, you know, it does take time for new companies to get everything set up, systems and everything. So there was an issue with that. There was also an issue where my trades weren't showing on the balance. So I'd made the profit, but it wasn't actually showing. But then the support basically replied instantly. So the support team is very, very good. The trading conditions are very, very good. You know, the issues I did have, I think they were because it was a relatively new company when I actually first bought a challenge with them. So I'm going to say they're great. You know, I'm not saying they're God tier because I did have some issues. It wasn't purely seamless. Like, obviously, that's what a God tier prop firm would actually be. So that's why they are in the great category and not right up at the top. But yeah, I definitely say they always have offers on, so you can always get a good bargain. I actually bought a challenge, $100,000 challenge for $280, which is very, very cheap. It's basically half price on what a normal 100k challenge actually costs. So I was very happy with that, and it meant that when I got, you know, I think the first payout was like 5,400, another payout was like 4,500, something like that. It meant that I only invested $280 and I got like 10k or something out of it, which is a very good return, especially if you capitalize on one of these offers that they actually have available. So we're going to move on to the next one now, and this is Funding Talent. If it's not a prop firm that's around anymore, but I feel like people that say prop firms have issues now, I'm just going to talk about Funding Talent a little bit. So this was a company that was around, I think it was 2021, and they basically undercut everybody. So it was a lot cheaper. It was, yeah, quite easy to pass. I actually passed both phases, and this was the first prop firm I actually traded with. So that's why it's quite significant for me. I started with a $25,000 account, and I traded 100% win rate on phase one, 100% win rate on phase two. It was unbelievable. I thought I was like this god trader. Made profit on the funded stage, and then they out of nowhere said they couldn't handle it, or they couldn't handle the payouts or something, and then they just shut down. And I only got 25% of the profit that I actually made. So although they did give me some of the profits, it again wasn't a good experience because they shut down. But the traders now are saying, oh, this prop firm's going to end up going bankrupt because they haven't been paid in a week because they're migrating servers. That's nothing compared to what used to happen. You know, the firm just literally shut down because they couldn't handle it. What the issues are happening now and how all the prop firms are dealing with it is very, very impressive. I feel like if that happened 2 years ago, it wouldn't have actually, a lot of firms wouldn't have been actually able to deal with everything that's happened. But I feel like it's a great place right now for prop firms. So I am going to put them in the bad column. You know, we needed at least one to go in the bad column. Moving on to the next one, which is E8 Funding. This one I've had quite a few payouts from, but again, I have had some issues, notably with slippage and spread. The spread is not great at all. I think they might have acquired an actual fund or an actual prop firm. I'm not too sure. But when I was trading with them, the spread and the slippage was not great. So let's say you're trading with a trade copier, you're copying over from your personal account that has maybe raw spreads, or it doesn't have that crazy slippage on a regulated broker. Then you're copying the trades over to a broker or a prop firm that is known and notably has bad spread and slippage. It can be quite frustrating because some trades you'll get tagged into the entries, some accounts you won't, and it can be very out of sync, especially if you're trying to pass different accounts at the same time taking the same trades. So overall, the account, I'm pretty sure it was one of the first firms to have no minimum days. So I remember there was one day trading where I passed phase 1, I passed phase 2, and I got a 10k payout within one trading session. I think it was one London session or London and New York session where I passed both phases and got a payout, or I had to get 7 days of trading for the payout or whatever, but I got the profit on the funded account. And that was the best thing about them. It was very quick to actually pass. It was relatively cheap compared to the big firms at the time. And yeah, I never had any issues with payouts or anything like that. It was very, very seamless. So we're going to put E8 in the good column. The best thing about E8, their dashboard was always my favorite. It always looked the best, and I was always quite happy with how it all looks. I feel like having a good platform, a good dashboard is always a lot nicer. It's more appealing for people. It obviously doesn't affect your trading because you don't trade on the dashboard, but it's just nice to have a user-friendly dashboard. And the next firm is My Forex Funds. It's not the best situation for them right now, but they were a very, very good firm. And there's a reason they made so much money. The reason they were one of the biggest and most popular firms is because they had good trading conditions, they had good rules, and it was just nice to trade with them. But again, we have to base it off of, would you want to trade with them now? No, because you can't trade with them now. So we're not going to put them in bad, because them actually acting as a prop firm, it was quite a good experience. But again, you can't actually buy it. You can't actually trade with them now because of whatever allegations are against them. And, I hope they sort it out, because a lot of people actually enjoyed trading with My Forex Funds and they were a good company. But again, we're going to put them in average, because I feel like they can't go in bad because they're really, really good when they're open, and they can't go in good or great because you can't even buy a challenge with them and they've basically shut down. So, I hope they sort it all out and they come back, and that'd be great. But yeah, average for now. Moving on to FTMO. I think you guys know where FTMO is going to go. If you've been around it trading for a few years now, you'll know that they were basically the originators of this sort of idea. And when I started trading, they were kind of like the one that I remember back then. So only one I can really remember from back then was FTMO. I remember seeing people post their FTMO certificates. I'm like, what is this thing that people are passing back in 2020? And then I eventually found out what it was. I was like, well, you can get funding and you don't actually have any risk. I mean, that's amazing. And I feel like they've always stuck at high prices and tough to pass, which I feel like is good, because a lot of prop firms, they're constantly undercutting each other. They're reducing their prices. They're reducing the profit targets. They're reducing everything. But then it also gets to a stage where it's too easy to pass. It's too easy to actually reach the profit stage where anyone can just pass and fluke a payout. Whereas FTMO, they've stuck with trying to actually get professional traders. So it means that they're more likely to pay you because they have a harder barrier to entry for traders to actually get a payout. And it does instill a lot of discipline into the traders, which then means that less people will get to the payout stage, less people will make profit, which means you're more likely to get paid because they have more money in failed challenges. So I'd say FTMO are God tier. I know their logo is not displaying properly, but that is FTMO, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'd say if you want to buy a prop firm and have no risk of not being paid out, I feel like FTMO is the one to go for. I've never really seen anyone have any issues with not being paid or any excuses from them, like I have seen with some other firms. So yeah, I don't feel like there's any reason to not put them in God tier. I've never seen anyone have any issues. And there's once where I was trading with them and I made 12k profit, and I traded through news. I didn't actually know there was news, but I traded through it, and obviously this is prohibited on their normal FTMO account. So what they did was they reduced my profit split by like 5 or 6k. So I only actually received 6k, but then they gave me the opportunity to switch over to a swing account. So instead of what most prop firms would do, get rid of all my profit, breach the account, no, they gave me half the profit, basically like a penalty, and then they switched me over to a swing account where I could trade news. So I thought that was quite a good experience. So yeah. And the last firm on the list is True Forex Funds. True Forex Funds, they've pretty much always been my favorite firm, mainly because when I was using them on MT4, I had probably the best spread, the best execution out of any prop firm. In a lot of prop firms, you'll go to enter a trade, market execution, and it'll immediately be a few pips in drawdown. And obviously this is fine because of, spread and everything, but a lot of the times it's not great. But True Forex Funds, I never had any issues. The only main downside is their support. Their support is very, very slow. Like, I'll send an email and never hear a reply. If you want support, you can go in their Discord, I think. But again, it's on like slow mode, so you can only send a message every 30 minutes. So it's not ideal to actually get support, and it can be quite slow to receive account details. I know it takes over 24 hours with True Forex Funds to receive your details, but a lot of other firms, it's automated and it happens within a few minutes if you pass phase 1. That is the only downside. You can miss out on trades and it can be quite annoying, especially if you are someone that trades every day. It can be annoying because you're missing out on setups that could pass you another phase, that could make you profit. And then you might have a loss, but then the trade you missed, you could have made profit on. So it is kind of like a mix, but obviously it does help you with discipline. And one issue today, I did have some crazy slippage. So I was in a long and price just gapped down 7 pips in 1 second on the candle open, which I don't feel is great. I asked in the support and they said that's totally normal. Not sure how that's totally normal, but that's what they think. But I would say they are a great firm. I trade with them with C-Trader now. It's not too bad. I kind of like the platform now. It's quite cool. And when I enter, it automatically puts a 10 pip stop loss, which I think is quite cool. And it just dragged the TP and SL. Only downside to C-Trader is the phone app is pretty archaic. It's not great. It's not as good as MT4. But yeah, the experience with True Forex Funds is pretty good. I'm in their master or elite tier of payouts because I've had over 50k payouts with them, which is quite good. They've actually paid me the most out of any prop firm, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've had quite a few payouts with them. It's always very, very quick payouts. On their website, they actually have something where you can see every single payout, so all the historical data, which I feel like is quite good. But yeah, those are the prop firms which I've actually had payouts from. I don't think I've missed any, I'm not too sure. But if you want me to review any prop firms or try any new prop firms to do an updated list, comment down below any prop firms that you either recommend or want me to actually test out before you purchase them, and I will happily do that. Maybe a review series or something like that. So yeah, I'm not sponsored by any of these firms. I'm not being paid to say one's better than the other, just a little disclaimer. So yeah, hope that's a little insight from my experiences with those firms. So yeah, catch you guys in the next video.